Hello and welcome back to Witchfix. I'm Sarah and today I'm coming at you with not a book or a non-fiction book or a game or a comic, but something entirely new and different, and also a gripe, which is not entirely new and different. But today I'm reviewing the Llewellyn's Witch's Date book. The version I will be reviewing is the version from 2018, for reasons that will become abundantly clear. For those of you that don't know, Llewellyn does a date book, which is basically like a diary planner type thing, but it also includes articles at the front about different kinds of magical stuff, and it includes lots of things and information that you might need throughout the year, phases of the moon, planetary alignments, etc, etc, and it has little paragraphs of information sprinkled through it about the various different kinds of moons and recipes and the festivals in the pagan calendar, like, you know, Samhain, Imul, and some rather lovely black and white artwork, which is very, very pretty. Now, I bought the 2018 version last year. It was about a tenner when I purchased it. I kind of bought it on a whim because at the time I was doing quite a lot of temp work. I was flush with post-Christmas cash and I was, you know, excited to have a planner, which I don't normally use but felt could be useful given the fact that I was having driving lessons and doing temp work and other things that required me to be just the teeniest bit organised. So the planner itself has a colour glossy cover and inside is black and white, or black and kind of cream. It has a very sturdy spiral binding, so I've had this one since the beginning of 2018 and it hasn't yet fallen apart. It has like a month layout at the start of the month with one box for each day, and then it has a week to view across 2 pages, usually featuring some artwork on the right hand side above Saturday and Sunday, with the days of the week down the left hand side. At the front there are some articles about different things to do with pagan life, and then at the back there is an appendix of magical correspondences. So in the 2018 version you get daily magical influences, colour correspondences, herbs, 2 pages which I have removed because I stuck them into my book of shadows like a classy bitch, and then a list of when the eclipses, full moons and planetary retrogrades are for 2018. So basically a pretty handy resource for anyone planning to do some witchcraft. Now, I say I've still got this book, I do actually still have it. I have cut large sections of it out. The artwork is really nice and I've used it to illustrate things that I've written into my book of shadows. I am one of those cut it and stick it people who loves to stick things into their book of shadows, just to keep them around after I've gotten rid of the book or other things. I usually photocopy pages if I'm going to sell the book on, and then cut pages out of things like magazines or diaries and things like that, which have a limited amount of usefulness. I was really impressed with the diary, the amount of use that I got out of it. Even after cutting out some of the things that I wanted to keep, there's still a fair amount of information in there, and you could definitely, if someone was to buy this copy off of me at a car boot sale or something, they would probably still find a lot of interesting stuff in there that they could cut out and use. So I was really excited just after Christmas 2018 to purchase the 2019 version of this diary. They also do a calendar, which I think is less helpful because there's obviously going to be less information in that and you can't carry it around with you, so I prefer the planner, but they also do calendars. Anywho, I went to Amazon, which is where I purchased my last one for 2018, promptly ordered the 2019 version, and then 2 weeks later when it hadn't arrived, I was like, this is taking a while to get here. I don't know when this episode is going up, but it's the 8th of January, so obviously if I'd ordered it like the day after Boxing Day, I was sort of expecting it to be here by now. So then I went back and checked and found that my order had not been even marked as dispatched, but said it would be arriving between the end of February and like the 7th of March. So I thought maybe choosing free delivery was the wrong move here. So I cancelled that order, went back in and tried to order it again with expedited delivery, which would have been 5 feckin' quid, but I thought, well, I want it, and if I want to use it for the next 2 months, that's the only option. But it still said that it would be delivered end of February, beginning of March, and that the only delivery option that I could select was the one that I'd used previously. I was confused. So I went and looked at the calendar page, and that also says on the right hand side of Amazon, where it, you know, gives the price and the delivery options, usually dispatched within 1 to 2 months. Now, I am not Llewellyn, which I wish I was, because they've got to be swimming in cash. Neither am I Amazon, but you would think that it would have occurred to somebody that waiting 2 months for something which chronicles time by months, is not great because it means that you've essentially lost out on a large chunk of the usefulness of that item. So if you have a diary that you've ordered, you know, at the end of the previous year and you're not getting it until the beginning of March, you've lost 2 months of using that diary to make appointments and various things that you would need it for. And also you've lost, you know, the use of those pages because you're not going to write anything on them after that. You don't know the phases of the moon for that time. You miss out on using that part of the diary. So I was really confused and really annoyed by that, as you can probably tell. I don't know if it's because they just sold out really fast and they're having to reprint more, but given that it's Llewellyn and they're like massive publishers of all things witchy and Wiccan, like I have so many books by Llewellyn, I can't even tell you. You'd think that they would know from the popularity of last year's diary that lots of people would want this one and would have printed copies accordingly. So I don't really know what's gone on there. I haven't really been able to find out. I've tried Googling and trying to find like different shops that are selling it, but the top hits that I'm getting on Google are just shops where it tells you about the product and then has a massive button that says buy from Amazon, which, you know, I tried that, it did not work. So I'm a little bit put out. I am in the process of looking for like another Wiccan diary that I can use for the year because I quite like having the extra stuff in there that I can then make use of, because it's nice to have bits of a diary that you don't have to throw away and that you can keep, and I like using them to decorate and keep in my Book of Shadows for like added information, stuff like that. So I'm currently researching that and I am taking recommendations because I really can't find any. A lot of the ones that I've searched up on Amazon just have like a witchy cover and then inside they're just a diary, which is not what I'm looking for, and Amazon refuses to understand what I am looking for. So that's quite annoying, and I do generally wish that I had been able to get hold of the 2019 version for you. But going off of the 2018 version, and you can buy these for like previous years, I guess, if you wanted to just make use of the extra stuff in them and stick it in your Book of Shadows. People sell these on Amazon once they're done with them, and they're like, you know, £2, and they sell them on eBay as well, again really cheaply, so you can buy them and cut out the pictures and stuff, and they're quite a good resource for interesting articles and things about Wicca. Some of the articles at the beginning of the 2018 version were the Daily Magician, which is all about setting up a daily practice, which is again quite interesting, and those are, you know, it's not a short article, it's like several pages, and then it gives work cited at the end so you know what to read next. Then Sprucing Up Your Ritual Space, again several pages long. Order Chaos or In Between, several pages long, and basically enough that if you had to like wait for an appointment or something, you could use those articles and like read them if you just had your planner in the bag. I cut out and kept a really interesting article in there about creating fixed candles for a specific purpose. That's currently copy-dexed into my Book of Shadows. Incidentally, while I'm talking about cutting and sticking shit into Books of Shadows, I just went through a collection of magazines and things that I had lying around which had Wiccan stuff in, and I had Copydex because I'd used it to make an auto candle, like sticking stuff to the glass jar that it came in. And Copydex, if you don't know, is a safe adhesive for crafts, fabrics and DIY, and it smells disgusting. It smells kind of like burning rubber, but it is hella strong and really easy to like use to, especially if you're like decoupaging things. The front of my first Book of Shadows is like decoupage with magazine pictures of tarot cards and things. Using Copydex on that like kept everything laid flat, stuck on, like it's never coming off. It also keeps like really nice thick pieces of card stuck into your Book of Shadows, so if you are like me and you get frustrated with like Pritt sticked things just kind of peeling off after a few years, buy some Copydex, because it stinks and it's disgusting, but it's useful. And you can also use it, I'm just going to read from the bottle here, for wood, plastic, metal, cork, fabrics, carpets, leather, canvas, and many other materials. So you can use it in various other craft projects that you might be doing, for instance, decorating the outside of a candle, if you're following the directions for fixed candles from the 2019 Llewellyn's Witches Datebook. And that brings us right back around to our original topic. Don't you just love that? Of course, I could be filling this time talking about the 2019 one, but given my previous difficulties, I can't do that. So that's quite annoying. I did actually just purchase a different diary. This is someone's used diary that I bought from eBay for 99p. And it is the Wonky Diary 2017-18, which has had the diary pages removed because I guess this person didn't want me seeing when they were going to the chiropodists. But it has a lot of the same stuff in it that the Llewellyn's diary does have. It seems to be more of a handmade jobby. It does have, again, the same really strong spring fastening down the side, but the inside looks like it was sort of made on a home computer. It looks very much like the parish magazine, which we get in my village for some reason, in that it's been like obviously hand done, maybe on like a computer with like clip art and stuff down the sides. But again, there's really interesting information in the front about astrological signs, recipes. There's a few things in here like Black Moon Days, the moon at apogee, and the story of creation. Again, very interesting. There's some different artwork throughout. They've illustrated the zodiac signs and the festivals, again in a very kind of bright, clip arty, quite cartoony way, but some of them are really nice artwork, and I'm going to keep those and add those to my book of shadows. You might be thinking, ho, Sarah, why don't you just find the website that they got this diary from originally and buy a new one for 2019? Well, I am right ahead of you, listener, and I went to the website listed on the back, which is thewonkyBroomstick.co.uk, which is adorable, and they do a subscription box, which I'm definitely going to look into, but on the page under books and cards, the Wonky Diary, there are no products listed, so I don't know if they just haven't made one for this year, or if they've sold out, or if they just don't do it anymore. I've done a quick search on eBay as well, just because I wanted to see if they had any copies of maybe the Llewellyn's book that had been purchased and not wanted by the person who'd been given them as a gift, but no such luck. The prices on there are actually extortionately high. They're like 40 quid for just, you know, the Llewellyn diary, which I kind of understand now given its shortage, but how desperate are you for a diary, really? But I did find the 2019 Magical Diary and Almanac, not Almanac, which is delicious, and I would like some right now. But that's by Kimberly Morgan, and that's being sold on eBay, so I might grab a copy of that just to fill the hole in my life where my diary used to be. I feel like I've been on the Wonky Broomstick website for a bit now, and given that this episode has gone completely screaming off topic, I might as well give them a brief plug, because it does sound genuinely interesting and something that I could definitely see myself buying, because I've cancelled all my other subscription boxes. I used to get Glossy Box, but then I was just like, I don't really use that much makeup and it's not all cruelty free, so what's the effing point? And then I cancelled my Spooky Box Club subscription box, which usually do like cutesy gothy things, mainly because they just kind of went downhill, and I felt like I was getting less and less, but they were charging more and more, and they were taking longer and longer to arrive, so I've kind of stopped getting those. But this is the page for the Wonky subscription box, and it says, each monthly subscription box is individually made by us at Wonky HQ. Our ethos at the Wonky Broomstick is made for witches by witches. Whether you are a practicing witch new to the craft or just interested in our magical world, these monthly boxes are designed to help you along your spiritual path using knowledge that has been passed down to us through many generations of witches. We are practicing hedge witches with a truly eclectic knowledge of the craft. With this combination of knowledge, we have decided to put together a truly wonderful monthly box to not only help you collect and replenish your supply cupboard, but increase your knowledge in the process, passing on the wonderful knowledge being passed down to us. So I really like that. I find a lot of boxes, the things that I've looked at to do with witchy stuff that are available in the UK, tend to be aesthetic based, and it doesn't seem that there's like a witch behind it kind of coordinating what witches might like. So the idea of having things that are made by witches, or at least chosen by witches for witches, is quite an interesting idea. And the UK subscription is £30, including post and packaging, which seems high, but looking at the pictures of past like boxes and stuff, they definitely seem to have things in them that I would class as being worth the money. So I might get one of those and review it for you guys, just to let you know how that went. And I've been thinking maybe of getting like a camera or something, just so I can do like a video for unboxing actual items that I find, because although books and things you can kind of review verbally as for a podcast, things like this diary that I was talking about at the beginning before I forgot what this podcast episode was going to be about, it would be really handy if I could like show you some of the artwork and stuff. So with that in mind, please donate to my Patreon, which is in the description box of this episode, and let me know if you managed to get a copy of the Llewellyn's Datebook 2019 and if it was good and if it was worth the wait. In the meantime, you can get in touch on Twitter, which is @Witchfix, or by email, which is witchfixpodcast@gmail.com. Anyway, thanks for staying with me, guys, through this quite rambly and very distraction-prone episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!